Hello. Good, good, good after, good morning. It's morning. I've got my coffee. Good morning. Yep. So, last week we established a format for these live sessions. First, talk about some article that we've written. Second, design something. Third, try to code it in the time that we have. So, here's the article that I picked up. What is Apple's 511 requirement? Okay, so I've got scrolling. Apple has very strict rules of, for their App Store, and mainly because they want to keep their bubble. They have a very big marketing campaign around the iPhone is a safe place to keep your stuff. It's private. It's nice, and so in an extension of that, what they created a few years ago, I want to say around like 2014. No, it was later than that. It was probably like 2018. They said that if you collect any data from your users or you have a login screen or anything like that, anything that's like a wall on your app, then you've got to follow these specific guidelines. And these are the legal and privacy guidelines. And one in particular that's really interesting that a lot of my clients have trouble with is the 511 requirement. And what I mean by relatively new is that the App Store has been out for like almost 20 years now. It's been a really long journey, but like this one came out only about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's only just recently started to become like something that they really seriously are checking for. So you got to be careful, and this is something that a lot of people, they take for granted. They want to put a login screen on their app. They want to collect people's data up front. They want to create a profile, get an email address, do whatever. And before anybody is allowed to access the features of their app, they put this gate that keeps the users out. And so the problem with doing that, according to Apple, is that they consider it to be a form of coercion or manipulation where you're promising someone a product in the App Store. You give them pictures of your app, and you sell them the features, and then they download it for free. That's what it says on your app. It says free, or it's $1.99 or whatever, and they download it thinking that they're going to be in this app, and then they get there and the app is asking them questions like, what is your email, or maybe what is your eye color, and blocking the features of the rest of the app. And so that in their eyes, they see that as a kind of manipulation to get someone's information, and they don't like that, and they're saying, no, you can't do that. And that's what the Apple 511 requirement is. They're saying that you can't have someone come into your app and then gate them out and take away features unless they give certain information, or unless they enable certain permissions on the phone, like push notifications, like microphone requirements, like network access, stuff like that. If you say that they can't access features unrelated to that, that request, then you're breaking the 511 rule. So this was the story. Somebody hired a developer to create a functional workflow. They put together a Figma. The developer worked off that Figma. They created an app. It had a nice login screen, and then they launch it, and then they get this rejection. Apps may not require users to enter personal information to function, except when directly relevant to the core functionality of the app, as required by law. For example, an e-commerce app should let users browse store offerings and other features that are not account-based before being asked to register, or a restaurant app, etc., etc., etc. And so that's 511. So what do you do about 511? Well, here's pretty much the basic diagram of what to do. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I got like a zoom in button on my computer. Maybe I do. There we go. So you launch the app. It says hello. And you've got a subset of features available. You've got the Pentagon apps features. You've got the settings feature. But then maybe you let them know that there's other features that they're missing out on. And when they click on that, take them to register or do whatever permission they need to unlock those features. And then finally, once they've done that, then you give them the extra features. So you can't just give like the whole app as like one package and then require them to give all permissions, log in, give all information. You can't do that. You've got to start from here with a subset of features and then go over to here. So that's 511. That's the solution. It can get pretty nitpicky when you're trying to fix something like this, where you have to get into the code, and maybe there's like a lot of null pointer exceptions or something to work out. But by and large, you know, it's just kind of sectioning off parts of the app and making sure everything flows according to the 511 requirement. So thank you for that. Listen, that is all I have to say about 511. And that is it for today's article read. You can also check out the article at kezi.co/resources/what is Apple 511, or just go to kezi.co and scroll to the bottom, click on resources, and here's my my entries here. How login screens can get you kicked out of the App Store. This is the article that I was just presenting on, and you are free to check it out yourself. Use it however you wish to convince your boss to do whatever. So, all right, moving on to the next section, which is our design section. So let's take a moment to get some water. Okay, I'm back. And this cat is what we're going to be designing with today. So, this is something that I drew in Affinity Designer not too long ago. Actually, like 2 years ago. Um, and I'm just realizing now this isn't the correct file because I can't edit it. Let me just take a moment and go and find that. Oh, you're not even looking at the right screen. Let's fix that. Here's the cat. You were supposed to be looking at this cat. And this cat currently it's rasterized. See right here, it's a pixel layer. And that means that I can't really do anything to it. So let me rush and find my cat. Just a moment. Where did I put my cat? Don't worry, we've got plenty of time. Here he is. There's my cat. I really like AirDrop. It's a good feature to have if you're using Macs and iPhones and you just like transfer files between the systems a lot. It's really good for that. It's it's one of those features that I really, it keeps me from doing a lot more stuff on Android. Like I could edit videos and stuff on Android, but I can't really like get the content and everything into Android to make it work. So it's just kind of like one of those killer features that keeps keeps me in the Apple ecosystem. All right, I've got my cat. Let's put him in here. There we go. This is the cat, and this this cat is cool because let me delete this pixel cat, and I'm gonna open this. I wanna edit it. There we go. So this weird looking cat, he's got a nose. So we can hide his nose. Look at that, he's got no nose. Uh, we can hide his mouth, hide his eyes, hide his whole head, hide his ears, and then there's a background layer. But inside of the mouth layer, there's this. So you turn this layer on and off, and it kind of looks like he's talking. So it's like a nice little kind of animation thing that I can do here by just turning this on and off. And what's what's great about this is all vector-based graphics. That means that, I can click on his ear. You can see those lines coming out. You can see these little control points. And you can move these things around. You see, that's what vector is. That's the power of vector. These are shapes. These are little points, and they create geometric shapes. And you can set the fill color of that shape. You can set the outline color of that shape. You can set the there's other effects too. I think there's quick effects. Like I could give him like a drop shadow, or do something kind of creative like that. But you get the idea. There's myriads of shapes that we can use. We can use squares. We can use circles. We can put squares and circles together like this and do a discrete operation and subtract from the square, and now you have like a square with a cutout like that. And that means now, I could edit these little points. This is vector graphics basically. That's the point. This is vector graphics. You get the idea. This is vector graphics. And now the power of vector graphics is this. You can take your vector graphic from a program like Affinity Designer. You can export it to a very web-friendly format called SVG. These are scalable vector graphics. And they don't have a resolution. They have like a kind of like a size, so that they scale to what you're expecting on your browser or any other image program. But that's a vector graphic. So here we are with this cat SVG. I'm gonna throw it into Safari. Actually, no, not Safari. I don't really like Safari's features for web development. I'm gonna use Brave. So hold on while Brave loads up. All right, here's Brave, and let me just throw my cat in the Brave. Mathcat.svg. Here you go. There's my cat. And we can inspect this cat. And just like HTML, we can inspect the cat. And see, there's the eye group. There's another eye. You can edit those vector graphic groups. These are groups in real time. You can edit this stuff. There's the mouth. This is a vector graphic, and it's in the browser, and the browser can control it. So we're looking at a DOM right now, and as you know, the DOM is the document object model. That's a tree structure that represents this image. And the cool thing about the DOM is you can query it and you can get things like the mouth. So if I said document dot get element by ID mouth, then I would get the mouth. And then you could do things with that mouth. You could assign it to a variable like this, say like mouth equals to document dot get element by ID mouth. Mouth dot style dot display equals none. Will this work? Yes, it does. You can take away that attribute and do that. So now, okay, let's try something really cool. Let's write a interval function. So if you call set interval in JavaScript, you've got to pass two parameters. The first parameter is a function. Pretty interesting that you can pass a function as a parameter. A function is code that you run, if you didn't know. The second parameter is a timer, so 1,000. Let's say 1,000. 1,000 means 1 second. So every 1 second, we can run this code. Mouth.style.display equals none. And his mouth disappeared after 1 second, but there's nothing to bring his mouth back. So we'll make another timer that runs every 500 milliseconds. And it's just going to probably kind of, I really don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. There. So now it's like the cat is just talking with the code. He's just going open mouth, close mouth, open mouth, close mouth, open mouth, close mouth. Very nice. There's also the eyes. I'm sure you could imagine we could do some kind of animation with the eyes. There's actually an eyelid layer here. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, it's that. So this layer here is unnamed. Oh no, it's called blink. There's a layer here called blink, and there's another one over here called blink 1. So we could say like set interval function. Actually, you know what? Let's just open her eyes. I think it's weird that the cat is asleep and talking. So we would say let's make an array. So var eyes equals document dot get element by ID blink, and then for the second eye, document dot get element by ID blink 1. That was the name of the other eye. A name being the ID. That was the ID set. So eyes 0 dot style dot display equals none. Haha. Eyes 1. Same thing. Eyes are open. Let's keep going. Let's make the cat's eyes open and close kind of randomly using a timeout function. Set interval function, that's our parameter 1, and our parameter 2 is how often do we want this to happen. Let's say every 5 seconds the eyes are going to blink. So eyes 0 dot style dot display equals none, and eyes 1 dot style dot display equals none. So every 5 seconds the cat is going to open her eyes. No. Every 5 seconds, let's make the cat close her eyes. There we go. So in 5 seconds, this cat should close. There. The eyes are closed. So now let's add a second interval. Every 5,100 milliseconds, the cat will open the eyes by setting the display type to none, which means hidden, which is, there's other ways to do that. You could set the opacity to 0. You could, there's plenty of ways to hide things, but this is the most HTML way that I know. And so this will cause the cat to blink now at some interval. We'll see. There, the eyes are closed, the eyes are going to open, and the eyes are closed, and the eyes open and close. Isn't that lifelike? Look, that's our little SVG cat. So having done all this in just this editor here. This isn't even an editor. This is just the console. This is just the DevTools console. So if I close this window, all this code's gonna go away. I won't be able to keep it. So if you're somebody that's following at home and you want to keep this code, you can just press like Control A or Command A, and then Command C to copy it. Get your favorite text editor. Mine is actually Sublime Text. I really like it, but for coding, I use VS Code. But I like Sublime Text when I'm not coding. Like I just I don't want all the drama of VS Code. I don't want Copilot and plugins and everything just getting in my way. And Sublime Text is pretty nice. It's got syntax highlighting, so we could set this to JavaScript, because that's the language that this has all been writing. This is what we've been writing in, is JavaScript this whole time. So JavaScript, and look at that. It's so colorful. Don't you love syntax highlighting? It's just something about code that has colors and indentations. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's look at some bigger code. This code is our code for today for the design portion. We kind of went into some interesting stuff with SVG and document object model, and a little bit of JavaScript timing, event timing. So that actually is touching on event-driven coding. And we can move on from here to the next module, which is the coding section. And I think I'm gonna just put that to the side, and we'll take a short break once again. I want to save my code, though. I don't want to leave it, so save it. Save it to my desktop. All right, the code is saved. Today's cat.js. You should name this .js. JS means JavaScript. TS means TypeScript. This is JS. JS is the only language that works in browsers natively. They say, yeah, you can use Python, you can use TypeScript or whatever. I think you actually might be able to run Python natively, and there's some kind of cool bindings they have now. But if you want to go back to the origins of web browsers and stuff that's historically always worked, it's JavaScript, and that's the native language of browsers. TypeScript does not run in browsers. It is transpiled into JavaScript, which is an interesting concept, but it's not something that I want to touch on today. All right, I close out of this. Let's close out of this. Put this to the side. Close this. All right, so now it's time to code, but I haven't quite got the project set up. The project that I have here is using the cat, but I haven't opened this. I haven't opened this since look at that, 2023. So it's been a while since we've been in here. 2023, and since it's 2023, we're using OS 0.72 of React Native, version 0.72. Let's see, just to confirm that. Do you see it? It should say 0.72, React Native 0.72. 0.72 was a good version. Look at that. Right here, React Native 0.72.6. 2023 was a good year for React Native. So this file here, the package JSON, it's in every React Native project. You can't escape it. And what it has is a manifest of everything that's in this project. And another tool called NPM is going to read this and then use it to grab all the dependencies of the project. So let's see how that works. Let me make this bigger. Can you see that? Let me hide phone. You don't need to look at that right now. Let's hide that. We type npm. Hold on. What? Yeah, this is the right folder. Make sure you're in the right folder. Use cd and then you go wherever you need to go. You can actually do this. You can type cd, go to Finder. If you're a Mac guy, if you're a Linux guy, I'm not sure what to do, but you can figure it out. I think they actually have a thing where you can like right click and say open console in this folder, which is really cool. But you can drag the folder into the terminal like this. Look at that. Look at that. See? That's the complete path. And it is escaped. So if I had put a space or something in my file name, it would escape it like that, which is very helpful. So we can cd, we're already there, so that's good. And then type npm, and you should see this if you have npm. npm run, which will trigger a script from the package JSON. Let me look at that again. npm, here's the script section. We have npm Android, npm iOS, npm lint, which is like laundry, like cleaning. Like look at your JavaScript and look for anything that's like not kosher with your linter settings, if you're into that stuff. And then test and start. So test is really cool because it'll run jest on this project. See, test, jest. The one that I need today is start. This will start the bundler. Start, and the bundler is React. This is the command that actually runs when I run start. So I type npm run start, and command not found. See that? React Native command not found, and that is because there is no node modules in this folder. Look, you don't see it here. Look, ls node modules. No such file or directory. And if this happens to you, which it will every time you download a project in most cases, you have to type npm install. Some people use yarn install, and I do recommend that for React Native projects. It is faster and it's a little bit cleaner in a lot of cases. But I'm just gonna go with npm for today. It's what we're talking about. I don't want to get into yarn. And this will take a couple minutes. It's got to download like probably 4 gigabytes of data to do this. Oh, look at that. Hell, it's done already. And it added 911 packages. And now look, ls node modules. There it is. Look at all these folders. Look at that. And look at how big this is. du scoosh node modules says that this is 339 megabytes. Not bad actually. And that's because the dependency list in our package JSON here, it's pretty short relatively. You know, a lot of React Native projects can have a whole page of dependencies. They have everything from navigation to bottom tabs to Firebase auth to Supabase or GraphQL. They'll just have pages and pages of dependencies here. And then even more dev dependencies. Fortunately, dev dependencies don't end up in the actual build output, but they're there to support your build. And they do take time to download sometimes. So now that Node modules is here, I'm expecting that npm run start will start. And okay, this is good. It started the bundler. And I'm going to press A because I want to run on Android. I've got an Android phone plugged in. It's plugged in right here. And so I'm going to press the A on my keyboard and let's see what happens on the phone. Never run this before, so well, at least not on this system. This is never run on this system, so we are, you know, put up your prayer hands and hope that this builds. Here it goes. If you don't have your device connected or you want to troubleshoot connecting it, you need a tool called ADB. It's integral to Android Studio, and ADB devices will tell you what's connected. And you should have something like this. That's my device ID. ASQ 611 HO1 0Q 221 I don't think there's anything you can do with that number that could harm me. So I'm happy to share it with you. But you could provision my device and you could let me you could let me into your Android build if you have like a signed APK that only certain people can look at. You can provision my device ID to let me into your project. Actually, it looks like the screen is not updating on the Android phone here. So let me just take a look at that real quick. We're using SCR copy. I think actually SCR copy stopped and ADB and OBS is like not picking that up. So we type. This is another tool. It's called SCR CPY, which I think is a play on like string copy, which is like an old C function. But we got SCR copy, SCR CPY, which is like screen copy. You type screen copy. If you have that installed, then you get a window like this. And that is what this is supposed to look like on the left side of the screen. You're supposed to see that, but ADB froze. OBS froze, and now it's just showing my home screen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on the settings in OBS and just kind of refresh it like that, and there you go. You should see that now. All right, cool. I can put that over here and get that out my way. Well, it's actually like one of the hot features of SCR CPY is that you can actually like click on your Android devices. I can like actually click the square button here, and that's the same as if I actually push the square button like on the device. Like I'm pushing the square button here, is the same as if I push the square button over here with my mouse on the computer. So Android development is full of a lot of really like little neat tricks like that you can just kind of like use for productivity. iOS, you gotta catch up. Sorry, I'm an iOS native coder too, and I've used it for like 15 years. I really like that system, but they're kind of behind on some things from Android in terms of like developer accessibility. There's no SDR copy. There's no SDR CPY equivalent on iOS. There's nothing like that. No. This is an open source tool. This is something that anybody can get and just run it. And I love it. Thank you. All right. So this is like another SVG that I had made. I thought maybe in this app that we could, like, I don't know, maybe put like a remote control that you click, and then like you answer math questions, and the cat like responds, and then gives you another question. But I really couldn't figure out the design for that. It wasn't quite making sense. Let me make sure I'm in the right editor. So this does not look like my code. Like this looks like the code for a React Native boilerplate project. And I think it is. I'm gonna open a different folder. We're gonna open, just close this there, and then open the one with the dashes. You actually can't put dashes in project names in React Native by default. You gotta do something to make that work. So here we are. This is my code. And this is where you'll see the SVG stuff. This is the code that's running on this device right here. This is the app TSX. The app TSX is an app, a function that is inheriting a JSX element. This is all TypeScript stuff. Like, if you don't use TypeScript, you don't need to worry about a JSX.element. You would just write function app, and you're good to go. But this one is in TypeScript. Because, a lot of people like TypeScript, so I want to know how to use it so I can work with those people. And I do use it whenever it's necessary. And, I learn about it. I get to know all the different languages. Like, I even use Python sometimes, because so many people use Python these days. Like, I learned Python, I learned TypeScript, I love Lua. Is a really great language. There's so many different languages to learn that, once you've got the basics of one, then you feel free to learn another language and just keep going and keep learning and keep growing, and just have fun with it. So this is our app, and this is our app function. And the app function is special because it's like the first component that gets loaded in a React Native app. And how do we know that? Because index.js is the first file that gets loaded in a React Native app. And how do we know that? Because in the Babel config, probably is gonna use this and then find this as like the entry point into the bundle. So it's just always indexed unless somebody wrote something really crazy in Babel config.js. Then actually, sorry, not Babel config. Let me just back up. It's actually Metro config. Metro is this program that we were running. Remember, it had like this big Death Star looking thing. That's Metro. And Metro is what does a lot of like the legwork for us in React Native in terms of like bundling the app and doing all kinds of stuff. So in our Metro config, that's where things like entry points and other tricks can be done here. But by default, index.js is always the entry point of the app. And index.js, 99% of the times, unless you have like a crazy senior developer, is going to register a default component called app. Just like that. And then app is going to be a component, just like any other component. It's really not special, except that it's the root of the application. If you're familiar with React, then this shouldn't be anything out of the blue here. So here you have app. What does this do though? Well, in our particular case, there's actually a lot of code in here, and it's because I started with like this idea that we could talk to the cat, and and right here you see like we have a component called think remote, and that's what this thing is. That's the think remote, taking inspiration from Baldi's Basics. Thank you, Miss Man 12. But there are other components in this project, and you see that because they're in the components folder. One of them is called MathCat, and I'm gonna cross my fingers that MathCat loads because I haven't tried this yet today. MathCat. Oh no, MathCat doesn't exist. Well, how about this? Let's import. 99% of the time, you see that error. You just need to import something. So don't freak out. You know, this is the kind of language where you have to import things into places. So we'll import MathCat just like that. Save, and it reloads. Look at that. But then it crashed. All right, that is not the same cat that we were looking at earlier. Let me try Tabby Cat. There she is. So there's our cat in our React Native app. And look at this. Let me just turn the camera on so you can see it. See, it's a real phone app. This is not like something in like localhost. This is actually on a phone, and you can take this cat with you anywhere that you want to go. And look, she blinks, and she also talks, but that feature needs to be enabled in the code. Okay, let's see if we can get her to talk today. So, so there's our MathCat. I think to get the cat to talk, I have to give it like a prop. Speaking is just a Boolean value, so that's not it. Let's see. So to speak in like a mobile app, to speak, what do you think if I'm like I'm over here? No. Like, look at I would just be up in the corner, and you guys can see me, and I can talk to you while I'm coding. All right. Yep. Let's just get comfortable. So there's a function here already in app TSX, and it's called handle tap. And you can see what it does just by reading the code. First, it spits something out of the console with smiley faces, and then it's like checking if this value called iterator is 0 or 1, and then updating iterator. So like sometimes it's going to do this, and sometimes it's going to do this. But what is this function called set utterance? It is a state value. And if you're familiar with context hooks, then this should be nothing new to you. If you're familiar with React context hooks, you know what these are. Whenever you set them, it causes this component to reload. And what we see in this code is that if there is an utterance, I'm not sure what's happening. It doesn't look like utterance actually does anything here. Let me look at this real quick. Get status. Oh yeah. There is something changed here. What did I change? There's something missing. No, there's no answers there. We need to get the cat to talk, and we only have a couple minutes left. Let's see. I mean, like I said the utterance, but nothing happens when the utterance is set. I think what has to happen is like a use effect. If the utterance is changed, then we need to speak. What was that, Copilot? Oh man. I was refactoring this and I just never got done with it. I think this is where the magic happens. So instead of trying to rewrite this old code, let me try this. Let's take, I think this was the idea, was that I would use teacher here. And then you want your bundler to refresh. Like if you want the app to refresh, you press R here, and that causes it to reload all the bundles. So it did that. No, the cat's not talking, unless maybe we can say something here. Hi, I'm a, oh. Hi, I am a talking cat.
Hi, I am a talking cat.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's a good stop there. That's a good spot there. Let's see that again. All right, let's get that. Let's get that on camera. And I want you to be able to hear it. So we'll put it over here with the microphone somehow. Here, cat. Speak into the microphone, please. There. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I am a talking cat.
Yeah. All right, that's it. That's all the time we have for today. We've got our talking cat app working. Yeah. So what I'd like to do with it maybe next time is set it up so I can talk back to the cat, and maybe we can like you can practice our multiplication or something cool like that. But for now, we are just gonna have to say goodbye. Would you like to say goodbye, Kat? Yes. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yes, goodbye everybody. Thanks for watching.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing. Check us out on kezzi.co for pair coding services, as well as general contracting services for app development in React Native, as well as Flutter and other iOS or Android related native development stuff. Thank you.